Right. So, first and foremost, let's say, Allah, Yahweh, Hashem, 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 the ones the elders and the apostles, the most of the one teach well. Honestly, the best pressure trip across the four corners with all sincerity. That's a point checking in another video when it be edifying to the whole full luck. This book of Deuteronomy 20:56. Alright, because I'm trying to make this kind of quick, kind of going into these women, man, women of our nation, especially so-called black women, man. Alright, like, we were discussing at camp. You really are way better off getting with the heathen than you are getting with really any of the nations almost. I mean, you could get with the Northern Kingdom and they'd be alright, from what I hear. Well, decent, more decent than, the Southern Kingdom, especially so-called black women, the Judah women. Alright, so you're really better off. Alright, get with the women of another nation, man. Alright. So this book of Deuteronomy 20:56. Why is that? The curses. Tender and delicate woman among you. Deuteronomy 20:56. Tender and delicate woman among you. She not just set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. So yeah, man. So that's a curse that was brought upon us because of people going off into all kinds of manners of witchcraft. Right? Time and time again, the Lord sends prophets to warn our people that, hey, if you keep going off, then, all these destruction, all these captivities will go upon you, and our people just kept going off, man. Alright, until, they'll set it up for us to get taken out, 70 AD, alright, which prophesied, but Yahushua, he prophesied of 70 AD when you read Matthew 24, people didn't hearken, man, so they got put in a bad spot. Right? And of course, through Yahushua's sacrifice, there's ushered in the time of grace, which runs until now. We have the time to get right, right? We have the time to turn back and, get right, man. Right? So yeah, the woman shall be evil toward her husband, right? And toward her son and her daughter, right? And you see that, man. Right? So-called black women, they be trapping men. Right? They'll get with them. If they have some money, they'll get with them. Whatever. Then they'll, give them all kinds of headache, whatever. And then, they might say one day, hey, I don't feel it no more. And dig them for child support, man. Alright, that's the MO of the so-called black woman, man. Trapping men. You know what I mean? Now, all women, they be trying to do that, but like black women's on a different level, man. When it comes to like just fucking evil, bro. Just the evil, right? The rage is just like, damn, man, right? They're very hard to deal with. They're very, very, very masculine. Very like he says right here, man. I shall be evil toward her husband, right? Just the rage, man. You know what I mean? The lack of femininity that was stripped from our people, man. They have a very wicked, manly spirit on them, man. You know what I mean? They want to argue and fight with men. This book of Deuteronomy, Isaiah 3:16. Moreover, the Lord said, because God is Zion haughty and walk with flesh, stretch forth necks at one time, eyes, walking next as they go, make it tinkle with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with the sky the crown of the head of the gods of Zion, and the Lord will discover his secret parts. Yeah, that's what happened, man. Right, the Lord put a scab on their head, made them bald, man. You know what I mean? Made them have short hair. Right? A woman's hair is her glory, and the Lord took that away from them, man. You know what I mean? That's all going to the curses, bro. Femininity, all that stuff. It's gonna come back, man. It's gonna come back in a big way. It's gonna come back, ultimately, right? That peak femininity, a woman getting their hair back, a woman, coming back once again, you know what I mean? Like I said, having a feminine spirit, not having that evil eye, it's gonna come back in the kingdom ultimately, man. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna skip down. 24 should come past instead of a sweet smell. They should be stink instead of a girdle or rent. Instead of also hair baldness, instead of a stomach girding a sack off and burning instead of beauty. Yeah, man. You know, instead of sweet smell, that should be stink, man. You know what I mean? Our woman, you know what I mean? This so-called black woman, man. Yeah, should be bad, man. Shitty ass diet, eating McDonald's and shit. The pH is all off, man. That shit is horrible. Instead of a girdle rent, instead of loss of hair, baldness, right? You know, have people losing their hair, man. And I still be seeing that to this day, man. You still be seeing that. Your so-called black woman with short hair, right? I mean, these curses that you hear, they primarily came across, you know, the Southern Kingdom, man. You know, especially Judah, right? But yeah, I mean, there are some exceptions. Like, you know, there's some Jakes. Maybe have like a heathen mother, they'll still have hair, or maybe like a Northern Kingdom mother still have hair. You know, of course, the women in the Northern Kingdom, they have their hair very long, very long. Right, but they be wicked too. But you know, they're not as bad as the Southern Kingdom, but they still pretty bad. Right, it's still really bad. You know what I mean? They still be off, going into all kinds of witchcraft and madness too. You know, so a stomacher, girding a sack off and burning instead of beauty, man, and being ugly, man. You know what I mean? See here, no hair. Yep, odors. Right, fat woman, girdle, rent. You know what I mean? Yeah, a woman being obese, Big Shirley. You know what I mean? It's the Big Shirley program. But I mean, all this stuff is real, man. These are the curses. This all adds into, you know, raw people having that proverb and that byword, man. You know, I think even this research, I can't remember who did it, but I thought I saw somewhere that black women are like the least desired women on the planet, and I believe it. I believe it. I'm like to be that way for this to show them.